Hey guys, want to make this quick little video here, talk about some new goodies I just picked up. As the title suggests, I actually got this stuff from a classified ad. Now, the local classified section of your newspaper, is something I don't normally look at, to be honest. I mean, everyone has it, whatever your local paper is, check out the back of the paper. It'll have basically a bunch of used crap for sale. And sometimes you find some cool stuff at a reasonable price. It's just like garage sailing or yard sales. People tend to accumulate a lot of useless crap over the years. And if you look at anyone's basement or attic or garage, basically boxes and boxes of crap. Some of the stuff was good, and when it was all purchased, people wanted it. But for some reason, you lose interest in it, or maybe it breaks, or you just don't use it anymore. It ends up getting put in a box and lost somewhere in the corner of your home. But anyway, I want to show you some of the stuff that I picked up recently. I thought it was kind of cool. I figured I'd make a video on it. So here we go. I picked up two new knives, and they both happen to be battle songs. These are both used battle songs. They're very old, mid to late 80s, these styles. I'll talk about them just in a moment here. But I actually got this from an ad in my classifieds. Was for some used hunting equipment. So I thought hunting, maybe some cool guns, maybe some knives. Called the guy up, and turns out he had a bunch of guns and a bunch of knives that he was looking to sell. So I thought, hey, I got to jump all over that, check it out, see if he's got any good deals. Maybe I'll find some really cool stuff for really cheap. So I made arrangements to go to his home, and he actually lived pretty close to me, so it was kind of cool. I guess I kind of met one of my somewhat close neighbors. But he was an older gentleman, I would say probably in his 70s. And he loved hunting. It was a passion for him all his life, ever since he was a little boy. And but what happened was, I think he had cataracts in his eyes, and he says his eyesight was just very poor. And the last couple of years, it got really, really bad. So he had to give up. He had to give up his passion, hunting. So now that he doesn't hunt, he doesn't really have a need for all these cool guns and knives. So he figured he'd sell them, and this is where I step in and check out his stuff. So basically, he had a whole couch. He had all of his knives laid out on this big couch, and a lot of cool stuff. I gotta tell you, I probably, if I had the money, I would have bought everything he had. A lot of cool old collectible WR Case and Son slip joints. He had trappers, muskrats, canoes, canoe frames. He had a couple elephant toenails, which he was actually asking a lot of money for these knives. If he was asking a lower price, I would have picked up those elephant toenails for my good buddy Scott King on here. You guys from iknifecollectors.com will know who I'm talking about. He also runs a website, elephanttoenails.com. That happens to be the very knife that he collects, that style frame, a slip joint. But anyway, just a slew of all these really cool knives. And the problem here was that he was asking way, way too much. He was very what's the word? He was not knowledgeable in the knife's history and values. Even though a lot of the knives he had were worth a lot of money. These old slip joints and stuff were worth pretty good pennies. But the problem was that some of the cheaper knives, but good knives that I wanted, he was way, way too high with his price. I'll give you an example. He had an SOG Flash 2. Very well used. Now try to picture this. SOG Flash 2. Cool knife. A lot of us have owned them. And I even had one. I figured, hey, I'll get another one. This was actually really beat up. It even had chips in the blade. I'm assuming from bone, because you could see some of the dried guts on this knife from his last hunting excursion. So you can imagine how well used this knife was. And I figured he would ask 20 bucks for it. Maybe. 10, 20 bucks. Who knows what it was. He said he originally bought it for $100 at a knife show. So right off the bat, I'm thinking he's going to ask way too much for this. I mean, you could pick them up, all day long for about 60 bucks online. So anyway, turns out he wanted $95 for it. So I'm thinking to myself, well, he supposedly paid $100 for it, and he's had it for who knows, how long, and he's well used it, and he wants to shave $5 off his price. So I respectfully said no, thank you. So at that point, that was actually the first knife I asked for the price. So at that point, I was already disappointed, and I thought, well, this is kind of a waste of time. I'm not going to be able to buy anything here because I don't want to overpay for an old used knife. But it turns out I saw these little gems in the corner of the couch, almost tucked in the cushion, kind of hiding from me. But I spotted him. I picked him out. I asked him a little bit about him. He said he picked them up at gun shows, both of them at the same time. He said there was some guy there at the show flipping them around, having a good time. So he wanted to buy a couple to try it himself. And he said he never really got the knack for it. He wasn't very good at flipping them, but he did use them for hunting. He said for a couple weeks. So here's the two knives. This one here is actually, I think this is kind of funny. I'll explain in a minute. But this is a Scandinavian style knife, a balisong, kind of a Nordic or Finnish type knife. What I mean by that is the style knife you'll find in Finland, the original design here. It's basically a Scandinavian knife. What I think is funny about this is that the main feature of a Scandinavian knife is, of course, the Scandinavian style grind. And this lacks that. This is actually made in China. It just says stainless China on there. It's flat ground, and it's completely dull from use. But I thought that was funny because in China there's some factory, or was, I guess, in the 80s, that were making these Scandinavian grinds without making the Scandinavian knives without the Scandinavian grinds. So I don't know why I thought that was funny. Maybe if if you're not a knife person and you're watching this video for some reason, you're thinking I'm stupid or kind of nuts for thinking that's funny, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a weird guy. I thought that was funny. Anyway, so this one here, this is actually a Frost Cutlery balisong from the 80s. If anyone out there is into cheap knives, I mean, if you're younger and you just can't afford more expensive knives, or if you just happen to prefer cheap knives, you definitely have experience with Frost Cutlery. Trust me, I know this to be true because I was there too. When I first got into knives, I was 9 and 10 years old. I bought nothing but Frost Cutlery because you can get them for $5 a pop or less. And I was addicted to the late night knife shows, QVC and Home Shopping Network, 300 knives for 150 bucks. Yeah, I was that kid. I was buying those things, but I didn't know any better. Back then, I didn't really use a knife, only for Boy Scouts, and I already had a Boker Top Lock 2 at the time. So that was my good knife. All the other knives I bought were cheapo knives. And there's nothing wrong with that, guys. You want to buy cheap knives, they make you happy. I think that's awesome. I really, really wish that I can buy a $5 knife and just be ecstatic about it. But, those days are long over, unfortunately. So, anyway, the whole point of me telling you this is that back in the 80s, Frost Cutlery, in their balisongs at least, made pretty decent knives. This is a very decent balisong. Back then, you could pick this up for about $8 or $10, and you can see, as even today, there's very little play in this knife. I could show you this. There's very little play in this, and that's 20 some odd years later. So very cool. This is actually a very heavy knife. You can see it's brass lined, stainless steel handles with brass liners. Super heavy. I would guesstimate this at about 6 ounces or so, maybe 7 at the most. But heavy little balisong. Surely lasted the test of time here. And that's how they used to make cheap balisongs. You used to be able to buy a cheap balisong that lasted 20 years. Unfortunately, you can't do that today. You'd be lucky if your cheapo lasts a couple weeks. But anyway, got some new balisongs, but the prized possession of the day is actually a new gun. That's right. You heard me. I got a new gun. I love the gun, but I'm not proud of my purchase, only because it was an impulse purchase, and I guess I'm weak like that. When I saw the gun, I fell in love with it. The price was right. Had to get it. Financially, it set me back a little bit. I'm not being the best role model here for you young kids. You really should save your money and try not to make impulse purchases, but I don't know, this is something I had to have. And with no further ado, let's take a look at it. Here it is. This is the famous, maybe not famous, but the very well-liked Ruger Single 6. This is an old cowboy-style gun. Single action, meaning that you have to cock the hammer back, take your shot, cock it back again. Each time you want to shoot, you have to cock the hammer back. This gun shoots, it's chambered for .22 long rifle. It comes with a spare cylinder here that you can use 22 magnums if you wanted to. You just swap them out. It's actually pretty easy to do. In the future, of course, I will have shooting videos on this. I'll have a review on this. I have to get to all my other guns. I still have to do my AK review and my new Glock review, all that kind of stuff, or overviews, I should say. But anyway, just expect to see more videos on this in the future. Just a really, really cool gun, and I'm sure it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun to shoot. I don't really do shout-outs anymore. I'd love to, but unfortunately I get probably 30 or more shout out requests every single day. So for me to actually give shout outs to everyone who asks, for them, it would take way too long. I'd have to make a 20-minute video just doing shout outs, and that's obviously too boring. But there is one person I have to mention because I'm doing this gun or showing this gun, and that is my online buddy Kevin Armstrong. Now, Kevin Armstrong, we're not personal friends or anything. I've seen his videos. We've chatted a couple times. But he really sparked my interest in these cool old Western type guns. He has a very, very nice collection of them, as well as many other firearms. But I had to give that one shout out. So Kevin, if you're watching, thanks for your video. It's all your fault. Now I like these old cowboy guns. It's actually funny that the very first time I saw this gun, when the guy opened his cabinet to show me what he had for sale, Kevin was the first person I thought of, because I know he has one of these Ruger single 6 revolvers. But I just can't wait to shoot it. It's going to be very economical. 22 rounds are very cheap. Even with the inflated ammunition prices today, you can get about 500 rounds for 20 bucks. So it ain't a bad shake. And shooting this one shot at a time, 500 rounds will last quite a while. So anyway, believe it or not, this gun is actually from the 60s. It's, almost going on 50 years old now. And you wouldn't think it from its condition. The previous owner, this gentleman, was very good with his firearms. And you can see there's bluing. The bluing on this gun is almost completely intact. There's only a couple little specks here and there where it's been maybe banged up into something. But just phenomenal. The original wooden grips from the gun. No marring on it, no scratches, no cracks, nothing. Just really, really beautiful piece. No rusting at all. In fact, when he gave it to me right out of his case, it was very well oiled up. So I'm really excited about it. I can't wait to start shooting this and showing you guys this gun. But actually, you know what? I should show you that it's cleared and safe. I do have this loaded right now, but not with live ammunition. They're dummy rounds. It was just so that I can dry fire. But I'll show you that right now. You can see they're blue in there. They're blue aluminum caps. Let me show you. Let me pop one of these out. It's just an aluminum dummy round, same size and shape as a 22 long rifle. But anyway, I have 6 of them here. It's a 6-shot. That's why they call it the single 6, because single action revolver with a 6-shot cylinder. So let's look at all those cylinders right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So completely safe right now to dry fire, and that's what I'll show you right now. Point in safe direction and dry fire. So basically how you would shoot this gun is cock it back, shoot it, just repeat the process. And this has that really cool, smooth 4 clicks. Just really, really fun. I'll be honest, it's super fun. I can't wait to shoot this thing. This one happens to have fixed sights on it. They're not adjustable. But from what I hear, very accurate. Sends those 22s flying down range. So really, really cool. I'll have videos showing you how to change out the cylinder and all kinds of stuff on this revolver. But just fantastic gun. I'll throw out another shout out. Fabio Crow. I think it's Fabio Crow 0770. I always say Fabio Crow. I forget the numbers, but I think that's what it is, 0770. He doesn't have a Ruger, but he has, I believe, a Heritage Arms 22. Same deal. You can switch out the cylinders on his. Much more affordable gun. And speaking of price, I paid $275 for this, which I think is phenomenal considering its age and condition. You can buy these from Ruger, depending on barrel length and setup here, stainless steel or blued, yada yada yada. They range between $320 to $400 brand new. So you can pick one up for a reasonable price, but if you don't have that much to spend, you only have maybe 150, 200 bucks, look into Heritage Arms. I mean, it's not going to be as nice as a Ruger, as Kevin Armstrong mentions in his video, in kind of introduction to these single action revolvers. But you know what? It's still fun. You know, you don't always have to fork over a whole lot of money to have some fun. So just super, super excited. Can't wait to shoot this. So there it is, guys. Check out your local newspaper. Flip right to the back of the page, back of the newspaper, and see what's for sale in your area. You can definitely find some cool stuff. So thanks for watching. You guys know I always appreciate it. I really, really do. And I really hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.